What's poppin', people? It is your boy Zaycer coming to you guys with another video today. Today we're finally going to be giving you guys what you guys have been asking for, what a lot of people have been requesting. Alright, my Bruiser Build video. I've had people asking me in my comments, I've had people asking me in game. You know, there's been a shit ton of people asking me, man. So here it is. I'm ready to give it to you guys. Alright, I got some decent gear. I'm going to go ahead and go over what I have, what I'm looking for, what I would replace what I have with. And if you want to like have like, I guess, a cheaper option or whatever, a more available option, what you guys can look for when it comes to that as well. Okay, I'm gonna try to go over everything as much as possible. I'm gonna tell you guys what I'm running, what other bruisers are running, etc, etc. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys the full spectrum and try to explain everything to you guys. Okay, give you guys the full rundown. So for starters, start with my my perk, or our attributes, excuse me. We're gonna be running 310 strength, 200 con. Okay, you can choose if you want to run 210 con and 300 flat strength. You can do that as well. You just need to make sure that you hit the mount, or the the node, I guess you could say, for 300 strength and a node of 200 con. The benefit of running 200 con is that obviously most heals in the game are percent based. So in theory, if you have more health, you're going to be technically receiving more heals. So take that in consideration. If you want to run 210 con, you can do that. And then if you want to run the extra 10 points in the strength for the extra damage, you can do that as well. It's completely entirely to you. So now going over my weapon pages, we have our Warhammer page. Obviously I'm running Wrecking Ball, Shockwave, and Path of Destiny. A lot of people do run Aftershock on their hammer. I believe most people, when they run it, they get rid of one of these two perks. They get rid of either the Empower or the Grit one. Personally, I feel like the hammer has a lot of great passives. And I really don't want to get rid of either of these two perks, because I do a lot of heavy attacks with my hammer. So I'd have, Empower up a lot, and also when I have Grit, when I'm heavy attacking, when I'm receiving 12% less damage. So I just personally, I feel like the hammer has so many good passives, and there's not really any that I really want to get rid of for Aftershock. Sometimes I do run Aftershock, I'll be honest. Sometimes I do, because I do think the slow for 4 seconds is really good and it helps secure kills. It's kind of a personal preference thing. I think most bruisers run Aftershock, but most times I don't. But I do run it as well from time to time, if that makes sense. Okay, but heading over to my Great Axe skill page. Okay, again, if you want to screenshot it, you can. But I do run Charge, Maelstrom, and Gravity Well. Now personally, I like to use Bloodlust. Okay, and I know I'm very weird for that. I know most top bruisers run Mauler's Fury. If you want to be, I guess, more safe, alright, like a more traditional type bruiser, run Mauler's Fury, because that is, again, what most bruisers run. Personally, the reason why I like Bloodlust is for the simple fact that I like consistency. I like to be able to pull out my weapon and know exactly what damage I'm going to get. I know for a fact, every time I swap to my Great Axe, I'm going to have X amount of damage, right? Whereas with Mauler's Fury, you have to build it up, right? And like when you first take out your Great Axe with Mauler's Fury versus when you first take it out with Bloodlust obviously will be doing more damage, but Mauler's Fury can quickly stack up above Bloodlust, right? Like it doesn't take long to get Mauler's Fury up. So if you want to play it safe, Mauler's Fury is definitely the play. But personally, I just like having consistency. I'm not a big fan of like having to build up my damage. So that's why I personally like Bloodlust. So if you want to run Bloodlust, here you go. You can see, what I would be running. If I were to run Mauler's Fury, most of these passives on the left hand side, I probably wouldn't be touching. So just kind of, pick and choose what you want. Yeah, this is what I run on my Great Axe. Now let's get into the gear itself. Now before we get into everything, let's talk about the gems that I have on my armor and my jewelry. Okay, I just make sure that at the end of the day, when I have all my gems on, I'm at a 10-10 split. Okay, so 10% physical damage, or excuse me, 10% physical damage resistance and 10% elemental damage resistance. Okay, that is what I go for personally. I know some people that stack more physical, because right now physical weapons deal a shit ton of damage. I haven't really been fighting in wars actively recently, so I'm not sure how it feels in wars. But I know at least like in OPR and shit, right? Like bows are fucking insane. Muskets are obviously always annoying. Great axes and hammers, they're not really like the biggest problem in the world, but obviously there's a lot of them. So just keeping that in mind. A lot of people usually stack physical, but again, it's completely entirely up to you. Right now I'm just a 10-10 split, but this can change depending on how the meta shifts right down the road. But just as of right now, I just have my gems set up so that I am at a 10-10 split. So it doesn't really matter exactly how you have your gems. If you want to, have your resistances like mine, just make sure when you hover over your gear score thing in your inventory, it says 10%. on both, and you're good. All right, so now let's get into the gear itself. Now, our helmet, we're gonna have shrinking, fortification, and resilient. This is gonna be a common trend amongst my gear. Okay, if you're new to New World or you're a returning player and this perk wasn't in the game yet, shrinking fortification, dodging through an attack, an enemy attack grants fortify, increasing damage absorption by 3.9%, pretty much 4% for 6 seconds. Each armor piece with this perk increases the potency of the effect. Okay, so pretty much what that means is the more pieces you have, the more resistances you have when you iframe. Okay, so again, you're going to be seeing this a lot because this ultimately, I mean, as a bruiser, you should be iframing a lot, right? So the more you iframe, the tankier you are. So that just basically means the more you're doing your job, which again is iframing, right? Because that's your survivability. The harder you are to kill if you aren't doing your job. You understand what I'm saying? It just shirking for is cracked, okay? And then resilient is a necessity for pretty much every build in the game. If you're not running Resil, you're botting about, you need to get Resil. That needs to be like your #1 defensive perk that you get, and then you start looking into other things. Now, if I were to try to get a third perk on my gear, because all of my gear, as you can see here, that I'm my character's wearing on his body currently, all of it is 2 perkers, okay? Now, if I were to look for a third perk, I would look for refreshing evasion, or maybe like a weapon perk, which we'll get into in a little bit. Okay, but that is pretty much what you would look for across the board. Okay, now going over my chest piece is going to be the exact same thing: shirking, fortification, and resilient. Same thing as the helmet. Our gloves, Sundering Shockwave, and resilient. If you're a bruiser and you're not running Sundering Shockwave, you're botting the belt. You need to have Sundering Shockwave. The fact that you have an AOE stun that also applies Ren to everybody that you stunned is fucking cracked. If you're not running Sundering Shockwave, you need to be running Sundering Shockwave. It's one of the 2 main weapon ability or weapon perks that you need to be using as a bruiser, and we'll get into the other one in a little bit. Okay, but if you're not running it, you need to be. It's literally just that simple. Okay, like this needs to be one of the first weapon perks that you're picking up as a bruiser. Okay, so you need to be looking for that. And we'll talk about this a little bit more again in a little bit. Our pants, shrinking, fortification, and resilient. Now the pants that I used to wear are these, which offered me Leeching Path. The reason why I'm not wearing Leeching Path here right now is because I feel like in a war or in an OPR, hopefully you're going to be receiving heals from healers, obviously. And I feel like shirking fortification, that extra piece of shirking fort, just offers you a little bit more survivability, because obviously, like I said, the more you're iframing, the more the harder you are to kill. And if you have a healer healing you, that means that you're alive longer for your healer to heal you. Whereas Leeching Path is really good for kind of topping off your health bar, right? Like let's say you get out of the fight and your health bar is not full, you need to be able to top your health up. You can throw a Leeching Path real quick, get your health up, and then go right back in, right? So I feel like Leeching Path is probably a little bit better for like OPRs or whatnot, or like when you're solo playing. It gives you a little like your own little heal that can definitely top your health off. So kind of pick and choose what you want. If you want to run Leeching Path, obviously in an ideal world, right, if I could have Resil, shirking fort, and Leeching Path on the same pair of pants, dude, or just any gear at all, that'd be fucking cracked. That'd be best. I would love that. But the reality of getting that is going to be very low. So in most cases, you're probably going to have to pick and choose. And again, it's completely up to you. In an ideal situation, like I said, you would have all of them together, Resil, shirking fort, and Leeching Path. But if you have to choose, it's completely up to you, like I said. But I feel personally like shirking fort is better overall, whereas Leeching Path is very good in certain situations. So again, that's completely up to you. I do run my Leeching Path Destiny pants as well from time to time, but I, right now at least, am primarily running shirking fortification pants. Okay, now going into our boots, we're going to have shirking fort and refreshing evasion. So as you can tell, we currently have 5 pieces of refreshing fortification, or not refreshing, sorry, shirking fortification. Now we're again trying to stack up that fort as much as possible. And I couldn't find another pair of, I couldn't find boots with a Resil on it with shirking fort as well. But to be honest, you really don't need 5 pieces of resilient, because I do believe there's like a fall off point where like Resil, you don't gain as much from it. If I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that is the truth. But like I said, I'm not 100%. But refreshing evasion is obviously never a bad thing, but I wish that I would have more. If I'm gonna have 1 piece of refreshing evasion isn't really that great, but I mean it's better than something that's useless, obviously, right? Now, if you can't find any restricting fortification pieces, if you don't want to buy it, if you want to save money, on the PvP track, you can find these types of pieces here, which offer shirking heals. They have one for every armor type, if I'm not mistaken, every armor type on the PvP track. So you can find, like, so for example, right here, these are light shirking heals gloves, and then right here, these are medium shirking heal gloves, okay? You know, they're very good as well. They're similar to shirking fort, obviously, but instead of gaining fortification, they're gaining health, right? So this is a very good for being self-sufficient as well. Personally, I love being self-sufficient, so I'm definitely going to be playing around with the shirking heals pieces once I get more pieces that I can make like an actual like good build with, right? Like a good medium bruiser build with. I'm definitely gonna be playing around with that 100%. But if you can't, again, get the shirking fort pieces, you can get these for free, or not for free, but using Assault Assault from the PvP track. Okay, so get your PvP track if you haven't already. These are really good fucking items. You definitely want to buy them anytime you get them. Like this one right here, I haven't even leveled this one up yet, but it came up in my track, and I'm not gonna just ignore it. Like if I see it, I'm buying it and stuff. You know, you guys should do the exact same. So if you see these shirking heal pieces, it's not gonna say shirking heal at first, like this one right here. But it'll be like a named thing. If you don't know if it's a shirking heal piece, just Google it real quick, Google the name of it, and then see what the third perk is. If it says shirking heals, you need to buy it, okay, without a doubt. So that is our gear. Okay, going over to our weapons, and I know, like I said before, Southern Shockwave is an essential perk, and I said it's one of two. The other one is Insatiable Gravity Well. Now I need to explain this, okay? So weapon perks are stronger when they're on the weapon itself. So for example, okay, Insatiable Gravity Well, if you look at it on the axe, gain 52% of your damage with Gravity Well back as health, okay? Pretty much you're healing, right, from your Gravity Well. But here's the thing, like I said, this one right here is 52%, whereas on our boots, it's 34%. Okay, and this is where I was getting my Insatiable Gravity Well from before. And it's the same thing with Sundering Shockwave, right? So my Sundering Shockwave right now, on my gloves, gives me 9.8%. I think if I were to get it on my hammer, if I'm not mistaken, it'd be like 15% or some shit like that. So again, it's just making it better if you have it on your weapon. So if you can find that, you know, get it. But I mean, those are going to be hard to, you know, to come by. But that is currently why I have it on my axe, and I will say that this is not an ideal axe. A better axe would be Thwarting Strikes and Refreshing Move. That would be a really good 2-perker. That would probably be like the best 2-perk axe that you could get, Thwarting Strikes and Refreshing Move. If you can't get that, then you could look for something like Enchanted and Refreshing Move, which is the next best thing, which is what I currently have. If I were to go into a war, I would probably throw this axe on and throw my boots back on, so I still keep my Insatiable Gravity Well. But just for the time being, I'm playing around with this axe, trying to get a little bit more health out of my Gravity Well, basically, right, and be able to heal me a little bit more. And on the gem that we're running is the Opal. When it comes to our hammer, we're going to be running the Blackguard's Warhammer. You can farm this from the Tempest dungeon. Very straightforward, very simple. I'm also running the Opal in this as well. I'm constantly hopping around. My stamina bar is almost never full. So that's why I'm running Opal. A lot of people run elemental gems on their hammer. They also run it on their axes as well. So you can run like an ice gem on your weapons in war, especially. So when you're fighting in somebody's like ice storm, you're dealing more damage. So you can do that as well. If I go into war, I probably will end up throwing that on. But like I said, I haven't been in wars in a while, so I'm just playing around with Opals for now. That's just me personally. If you want to run Malachite, I think you can run on the hammer as well. I don't think many people do that anymore, but if you want to, you can. I don't know. Personally, like I said, I hop around a lot, so I like having Opal. It's just up, you know, it's up more in my opinion. Okay, but there's also other hammers that you can get as well. Just again, the main thing you want is Thwarting Strikes. If you can find Sundering Shockwave one as well, that would be a cracked out hammer. If you can't get that, then obviously Keen, you can't go wrong with Keen. Keenly Empowered, obviously you can't go wrong with that as well. But this is the best axe that you could just farm to my knowledge. I think there's another good hammer as well that offers Enchanted and Sundering Shockwave on the hammer, and I actually need to go get that hammer. I don't know which hammer it is, so I'm sorry that I don't know that, but I'm pretty sure you farm it in Merkgard, if I'm not mistaken. But again, I don't know exactly which hammer that is, so that's my bad on that. But again, this is a good hammer for the time being as well. All right, now going over our jewelry. Now I need to talk about this as well. For our amulet, we're currently running Champion's Amulet. Now this is something that I just recently started using. I have not been using this amulet for a while. You can get this from the PvP track. Okay, what you're gaining is stamina recovery. So when you are hit while below 50%, you gain 98% stamina. It has 30-second cooldown, and then you have health, which is an essential, and then shirking and power, which seems cracked. Every time you iframe something, you gain 4% damage for 10 seconds, and it can stack 4 times. So basically, in theory, if it's maxed out, you are gaining 16% damage, which is cracked. But the amulet that I have been running for the longest time, and that I'm not using right now, but again, this might be the amulet that I go back to, is Divine / Protection and Health. The thing I'm going to miss the most about this amulet specifically while using the Champion's amulet is the fact that, you know, you're going to be losing Divine, or at least I'm going to be losing Divine. And Divine, you know, gains or it gives you 9.8% more health from all healing. Basically that means pots, or you're getting 10% more healing from pots, or you're getting 10% more healing from your healers. You're just getting 10% more healing from everything. And losing Divine is kind of a big deal. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be sticking with Champion's Amulet right now, but right now it seems good, it seems solid, and I enjoy that shirking and power shit. It seems pretty goated, so we'll see how I feel in, you know, a little while, but as of right now, this is what I'm running. Okay, as for our ring, we're currently running Smoothbone. You can farm this from Lazarus. Okay, you can also get the Champion's Ring from the PvP track as well. This is pretty solid. You can kind of pick and choose which one you want. Right now, I'm just running Smoothbone. I haven't tried Champion's Ring yet, but it seems pretty solid. It seems pretty good, and I'm definitely going to be looking into using it here in the near future. But again, these are both great options. Again, Smoothbone you can farm from Laz, and Champion's Ring you can get from the PvP track. Okay, and then with our earring, we are running Doom's Chance. You can farm this from Genesis. This is a great earring, the best earring for bruisers. If you're a bruiser, you should be having this point blank period. Again, you can farm this from Genesis. It's pretty straightforward. And that is my build, y'all. Hopefully you guys you know, learned something. Hopefully it helped you guys in some way, shape, or form. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Please make sure to tell a friend, and tell another friend about me about your boy Zaycer. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and list in the Zaycer army today. Make sure you share this build with, you know, with your friends. I know there's a lot of people coming back to New World. If they're looking to get into bruisers or to, you know, the bruiser type of gameplay, you know, maybe this can help them out. So, you know, share it with your friends that maybe are coming back to New World, or maybe that are just picking up New World for the first time and they want to know, you know, what kind of gear they should be looking for. Okay, hopefully this is helpful. Hopefully this is, you know, educational to you guys. And if you guys want to see some gameplay with this very build on the channel, you know, I have quite a few, you know, videos on the channel. You feel free to check any of them out. And pretty much all of them are using this build, or a build that's very, 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 very close to this. Okay, so if you want to see some gameplay, feel free to go check out some of the videos. So I hope you guys did enjoy the video. This has been your boy Zaycer. I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.